You know that thought, right? The one that pops into your head almost automatically after a loss. Your logical brain is screaming, just walk away. But this other voice, it's quiet but persistent, just says, let me get it back. It's not really a plan, is it? It's more like a reflex. And that reflex, well, that's the start of a really powerful cycle.
So what's going on there? Why is it so hard to just stop when you know you should? You've set a limit, you've hit it, and yet you find yourself betting again. Well, it turns out the answer has almost nothing to do with willpower. And it has everything to do with how our brains are wired to deal with, well, with feeling bad.
Okay, so this behavior actually has a name. It's called loss chasing. And it's exactly what it sounds like, continuing to gamble, specifically to try and recover the money you've just lost. It's an incredibly common pattern, but it's also a really critical one to understand because this is often the very first step into a pretty dangerous spiral. And here's the absolute key to understanding this whole thing. When you lose money, your brain doesn't just register it as, a simple financial transaction. Nope, it feels it as a psychological threat. It's like an alarm bell goes off. Something feels fundamentally wrong. And this triggers a really deep, urgent biological need to fix it, to just get things back to even. And get this, we can literally see this battle happening inside the brain thanks to fMRI studies. At that exact moment, two different systems just light up and go to war with each other. You've got one part, your reward system, that's screaming, go, chase, we can get it back. It's running on pure hope. But at the exact same time, another part, your brain's anxiety and conflict monitor, is yelling, stop, quit, this is a disaster waiting to happen. That part is driven by the fear of losing even more.
So if you've ever felt like you're being pulled in two completely opposite directions at once, well, you are. It's a real, biological tug-of-war happening inside your head. Your brain is literally trying to solve two different problems at the same time. Go get that reward, but also run away from that disaster. And let me tell you, that internal conflict is exhausting. It's not a failure of character. It's a full-on neurochemical battle.
So, which voice wins? In that fight between hope and anxiety, which one ends up shouting louder? And here's the most important question of all. At what point does the goal stop being about the money? This right here is the pivot. It's the moment the game changes completely. Suddenly, you're not playing to win money anymore. You're playing to undo a feeling. The mission shifts from financial recovery to just getting some emotional relief. You just want to escape the stress, the frustration, the feeling of being down. And in that moment, placing another bet can feel like the only way to do that. And this is how that really vicious loop gets built. It starts with a loss, right? That triggers that awful, uncomfortable feeling. So you play again, maybe for just a moment of hope or even just as a distraction. But then you lose again. And now that bad feeling is even worse. It's more intense. The urge to play again just to feel better gets even stronger. And every single time you go around this loop, it just digs itself in deeper and becomes that much harder to break.
Oh, and our brains are absolute masters at coming up with justifications for this urge, aren't they? You start hearing thoughts like, okay, I'm definitely due for a win now. Or, I can't stop now, I'm already too far behind. And the classic, I just need one good hit to fix all of this. Look, these aren't logical calculations. They're just stories. They're what the emotional, stressed out part of our brain tells the rational part to get permission to keep the cycle going.
Researchers have found a really fascinating physical sign of this internal pressure. It's not just about betting more. When people feel like they can't afford to increase their bet size after a loss, they often do something else. They just start playing faster. They actually call this post-loss speeding, and it's such a critical clue. Think about it. How much you can bet is limited by how much money you have, right? But how fast you can hit that button, well, there's no limit on that. That's why scientists see it as a pure, unfiltered measure of that raw urge to just keep going and chase that feeling of relief, completely separate from any kind of financial logic or strategy.
Okay, so how in the world do you break this loop? The answer isn't to just grit your teeth and try to power through with willpower. I mean, willpower is a great thing, but it's a limited resource, especially when you're in the middle of that intense brain battle we talked about. The real first step, the actual key, is awareness. It's about learning to spot that exact moment when your goal begins to shift.
So here's a practical thing you can do. The next time you feel that urge to chase hitting you, just pause, just for 1 second, and ask yourself this one simple question. Right now, am I trying to win or am I just trying to feel better?
Be really honest with yourself, because those are two completely different goals.
Because when you lay it out like that, the logical conclusion is just undeniable. If your real goal is to get relief from the stress of losing, well, then continuing to do the very thing that's causing all that stress is a strategy that is pretty much guaranteed to fail, right? It's just pouring fuel on the fire. It only feeds the loop. And just recognizing that right there can be the moment you need to make a different choice. And you know what? Making that different choice is something you absolutely do not have to do alone. If any of this sounds familiar, if this cycle feels like something you're stuck in, please know there is support out there waiting for you. You can call 1-800-GAMBLER anytime, day or night. It's completely free, it's totally confidential, and it will connect you with people who get it, who understand this exact process, and can give you real, effective support. See? Understanding the why behind the chase is everything. It changes the problem from I have no willpower to this is a predictable, understandable biological response. And once you understand the mechanism, that's when you get the power to interrupt it. That is how you start to control your emotions, and by doing that, you start to control your outcomes.
Hey, if this explainer was helpful for you, please do take a second to like the video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. Every little bit of engagement really does help other people find this information, people who might really need to hear it. Thanks so much for your time today.